Anytime there's the us versus them, and the them is bad, and we paint these broad brushstrokes against certain groups of people, everyone loses.
We all have biases. Some are racial, some are religious, and some have to do with other things like our favorite sports team. Most of us are aware of our biases, and we try not to let them affect how we view and treat others. But when we leave them unchecked, they become amplified. I sat with Dr. Ali Mattu, psychologist and host of the YouTube series The Psych Show. He explained how the mind develops the kind of bias that leads to Islamophobia and the effect it has on our society. Explain what you think the psychology is behind Islamophobia.
There's this basic thing inside of us. It's called the in-group, out-group bias. No matter who we are, we really like the groups we belong to,
Right.
and we dislike other groups. So it could be about race, but it could also be like Trekkies versus Star Wars fans. So you combine that with not really knowing another group of people, that kind of stuff can come together and form some of these biases,
Right.
like Islamophobia. What really concerns me further, though, is what you're talking about here, about like how acceptable statements have become.
Right.
The more you can kind of excuse and keep someone as this other and not really have to deal with it, that is a very dangerous road. One of the other things that really concerns me right now is this thing called group polarization. When people are in groups and there aren't a lot of diverse perspectives in the group, their views become much more extreme.
Right.
A feed of information, your Twitter feed, your Facebook feed. There's someone from high school I'm friends with on Facebook, and they post some like super heinous thing, and I'm like, block. But like your feed becomes more and more polarized,
Right.
where it's more and more people who just agree with you. And actually, this is how terrorism is born too, where a small group of people only are interacting with each other, and their views and their thoughts get warped and more polarized and more extreme.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the biggest hurdles we have as a species.
Bias within and between social groups can feed the dangerous logic that drives Islamophobia, racism, and terrorism. Empathy and acceptance are the best weapons we have in the fight against ignorance. So let's use them.
We as Americans have really the land of the free, home of the brave. We just stop there and say, oh, that's it. We're for democracy and everyone here is equal and you're free to do whatever you want, but that's not necessarily the case.